Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Exorcism at 1600 Penn, issue number one. So, fantastic comic book. I really like this. This is coming out of IDW, written by Hannah Rose May, never heard of her before. Art by Vanessa Del Rey, love Vanessa. Jordi Belair, colors, awesome. Hassan Otsmane-Elhaou. I can never pronounce this guy's name, but I've read so many of his letters before. All these guys, absolutely beautiful. I walked into this comic book with so much trepidation. All right. I walked into this comic book thinking, I'm not going to like this comic book. But it was one of the ones that IDW sent to me. Thank you, Greg. That'll be the last time I do that. But they sent me this comic book, and I thought, I'm not going to like this. I genuinely thought this. I'm going to give it a chance, but I'm probably not going to do a review about it because I don't like to do reviews about comic books I don't like, right? So this way you have no idea whether I enjoyed it or not. Maybe he didn't read it. Maybe he hated it. I don't know. But if I liked it, I'm going to do a review about it for absolute sure, unless I have something particularly good to say about something else. This is especially interesting because obviously this is a book that's going to lean into Catholicism, right? I don't know any other denomination of faith or whatever that really gets into exorcisms in a big way. I know Islam talks about it. You never actually see them, right? There's a lot of maybe there's some Protestant faiths out there that talk about it. I don't know, but I thought this is going to be something that's going to insult Catholicism. And I have just began my journey returning to Catholicism, though I've never really properly been there. I've decided to. So I'm like, if I don't like this, then I'm going to wind up hating it. And I don't want to do that. I said, let me give it a chance. And I am so glad that I did. So if you're a particularly religious guy, if you're a Catholic as it stands, I don't see anything about this book that you're not going to like. The characters in here actually go to Sunday school. This is about a president. Yeah, it's a female. Yeah, it's got all the wrong pepperings, right? And yet it shows that it is not the substance of the story. There's a female president. Is it the first ever female president? We don't know because it doesn't matter and it shouldn't matter. It really shouldn't matter. Anybody starts talking about, I would be the first anything, who cares? You know what I care about? Are you qualified? That's it. That's all I care about. This president is qualified, and I love that. She actually shows concern. Hey, my family's sick, but I'm here at the G7. Somebody at one point says to her, it's not going to be good for your voters if you leave the G7. She's like, I get that. But she's going to leave anyway because she got to do her thing. There's a guy, a senator in here who doesn't like her, right? And is bad-mouthing her all the time. Never at any point does anybody, a character in the comic book or the comic book itself, talk about she's only leaving because she's a woman. That proves a woman can't be president. Or, hey, women are the best and they can juggle multiple things at the same time. There's never anything like that. It's just, these are human beings. And oh my gosh, I can actually read a comic book. I mentioned, I don't know who Hannah Rose May is. But if Hannah keeps on writing books like this, I'm in love. I'm not saying I'm in love with her. I don't even know her. Plus, I'm happily married. My point is, I'm in love with what she's writing. This particular female president happens to be married to a black guy, who's a doctor. Kind of reminds, some people aren't going to like that, Bill Cosby. If Bill Cosby did those bad things, if he did those bad things, then that is a terrible thing that he did. That being said, I am not going to discount all of the tremendous, wonderful things that he has done before that. The shows with the positive messages that he put out and all that other stuff, I am not going to detract from those just because he's accused of such and such and such. Courts, people, whatever. I don't know. I'm just saying. Anyway, probably shouldn't even brought that up. There's never at any point a moment where the comic book starts getting preachy and saying, you see, black and white can get together. I mean, who would think that a black guy and a white girl could get together? That's like saying a white guy and a black. What should I bring her in? I won't. I won't. I'm not going to make her into a tokenized character. But the idea is, yeah, white people can marry black people too. Duh, duh, and just a little bit of duh. Ooh, with a sprinkle of duh. Anyway, but the book doesn't get preachy about it. Also, nobody in the comic book starts using it as a whole. Oh my God! Oh, look, isn't this bad because racism and fascism and Nazi and this is a political book that doesn't get political. But I couldn't tell you if this is a Democrat or a conservative or a Republican, liberal or conservative. I have no idea. That makes me happy. This is just a comic book about good people and bad things happening. The devil, or a devil, is in fact haunting the White House. Guys, I'm telling you right now, if I read issue number 2 and suddenly all this SJW stuff starts springing up, I'm going to be infuriated and I will badmouth the hell out of this comic book. I promise you that. But there are absolutely no indications that that is going to happen in this comic book. We're talking about 48 pages of this. I mean, that's including the cover and stuff like that. Actually, it's probably more because the way they sent it to me, it's, here's the one page and here's the second page on one page. So there's a lot of pages in this. This is a big comic book and it is an incredible story. It's just it doesn't even feel like a soap opera, but it feels like people just doing their life. And I'm telling you, man, if there hadn't been so many bad comic books preaching to us, thinking that they're the X-Men comic books when they have no idea what the X-Men actually are. If there weren't so many people preaching to us about comic books for the past how many years, decade at least, decade and a half, then I would have been able to read this even better. I would have been able to just read this, open this up, and just start reading it without the fear that it was going to turn into some, SJW monologue about how you're a bad person because this, and these are bad people because of that, and let me tell you how to think. My peeps, it never happened. It never once happened in this comic book. I read this book, and it was enjoyable. All the way to the very end. It actually makes me angry at so many people who don't know how to write comic books. That it's almost like an infection that their mentality creeped into me and made me start thinking, it's about an exorcism. They're going to say something bad about Christianity in whole or Catholicism as it stands. It's a female and she's white and she's the president. They're going to make some kind of a thing and it's going to be an anti, ha ha ha, no, but women really can do it. Go Kamala, all that nonsense, right? Oh crap, she's married to a black person. It's going to be a big SJW thing. There's going to be some racist epithets thrown and all this stuff. Oh look, she's got a kid and he's got a kid and they're both living together and all this other crazy stuff. Every single character in this book, they're just people. Every single one of them is just people. Even the opposition party, which you'd think, I don't know what he actually stands for. I know in general some things. I know that the things that he's saying bad about her only sound bad to me because I'm reading her story, not his. Maybe we're going to get his story too. Maybe he's the reason why these things are happening. I don't know. But I know that every so often the devil seems to appear in the background. I even tried to make some kind of association about the things that are being said and the idea that the devil seems to appear in the background. I find nothing. So far, I can't find any underlying or overwhelming message that would make me be so upset at this book. What I'm presenting to you is a book that is really fun. The art is, I mean, it's Vanessa Del Rey. Hey, I enjoyed this story. I enjoyed reading this comic book. And it is so rare for me to find a book that does that. Maybe it's because it's at IDW. Maybe it's because it's one of those independent style comics that are coming out, right? Indie scene. I don't know. What I do know is that I would gladly pass this comic book to any one of you and say, give this a shot, see if you like it. What's it about? It's about people. And the devil seems to appear in the background every so often. Not sure why yet. I really like this. And I think you guys will too. Guys, that's really all I got. And I'll talk to you later. Like the video, watch an ad. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.